tax dollars going to Africa so they can fight AIDS over there. Now, I'm sure we all agree that AIDS is a scourge and that people should be educated about it, and those who have it should be helped. Is there anything in our Constitution that you're aware of that authorizes our federal government to do that with our tax dollars? $55 billion. It's not chump change. My opponent has raised the debt ceiling 8 times. The most recent one was last August. Under Barack Obama, he raised it $2.1 trillion. Now, there was supposed to be $2.4 trillion in cuts to offset that. Has anybody seen them? Anybody know where they are? I've got people doing research for me. I do research on my own. I can't find them. If you can tell me where these $2.4 trillion in cuts are coming from, I would really like to know. And of course, I just mentioned a minute ago that the Export-Import Bank charter has been extended yet again. So he's shown that he doesn't have a problem with spending money as long as he gets the okay from the party hierarchy. Is that the way it's supposed to work? Did he swear an oath to the Republican Party, or did he swear an oath to the Constitution? Because I'll tell you right now, you can videotape it, you can record it, whatever you want to do. When I raise my hand and swear that oath, if the Republican Party expects me to do something contrary to that oath, I'm going to tell them to go pound sand. It's not going to happen. The federal government must preserve individual liberty by observing constitutional limitations, another part of our creed. Let's go back to 2006 and H.R. 6166, the Military Commissions Act of 2006, which gave more authority to the executive branch and military tribunals regarding U.S. citizens. It's a precursor of the NDAA. Now, Congress has abdicated its responsibilities under our Constitution by giving all of these powers to the President and having all these czars that we don't even vote for and they're unaccountable to us. We need to restore Congress's authority under the Constitution. But nobody talks about that. I've got a video on my website, maybe some of you have seen it, where Eric Cantor is actually arguing with Chris Matthews about who has the right to declare war. And Eric Cantor actually stands there and argues with Matthews and a Democrat congressman saying it's the President's responsibility to decide when we go to war. Really? This guy's representing me and he doesn't even understand that the Constitution says it's Congress's responsibility. We've talked about NDAA and what an abomination that is, so say goodbye to your 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment rights. You can be detained on the street. Now people say, well, Floyd, that's about terrorists and terrorism. And we don't have to worry about that. We're just regular American citizens. They're not going to come lock us up. Really? Do you own a gun? Oh, yeah. Are you retired military? Yeah. Guess what? Our Department of Homeland Security has decided that you are a potential terrorist. What an insult. Especially to our military. Anybody returning from overseas from combat duty is considered a risk to be a potential terrorist. Anybody who signed that bill and voted for it should be slapped upside their head for being that stupid and that arrogant and being that insulting to our military. H.R. 347, Federal Restricted Buildings and Grounds Improvement Act of 2011. That sounds pretty innocuous, doesn't it? I mean, it's Restricted Buildings and Grounds Improvement Act. We're just looking to improve some federal grounds, that's all. We're going to plant some grass here, trim the edges. No, what it says is, if you go to protest something in Washington, D.C., how many of you here have done that? How many of us have been to Washington to protest a bill that was coming up, whatever the reason? If the person that you are protesting is speaking, and you are out there with a sign, Obama sucks, Eric Cantor needs to go, and the Secret Service is protecting that individual at this particular event, guess what? It's a felony offense if the Secret Service decides you don't have a right to protest that day. You need to leave. We're not going to allow a protest today. No signs, no yelling, nothing. You got to go. If you're arrested, it's a felony. Not a misdemeanor, a felony. You say goodbye to your First Amendment rights. Mr. Cantor voted for this. The Federal Aviation Administration Reauthorization Act, which now says that the unmanned drones that we use over in Afghanistan and Pakistan to launch missiles, well, now they can fly around here and spy on us. No Fourth Amendment rights, no warrant is needed, no probable cause. If they're just flying around and they happen to videotape you doing something that's illegal, well, they can charge you and arrest you. No probable cause involved. Mr. Cantor signed that. He voted for it. CISPA, Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act. How many of you like to surf the internet? Probably do a lot of your research there, don't you? How many of you have a blog and post things that might be considered anti-government? Yeah. Well, guess what? Now the government can spy on you and see what places you're surfing, where you're going, who you're talking to. No Fourth Amendment, no warrant, no probable cause. We've heard about this blogger guy who writes things about the Constitution. We want to check him out. Eric Cantor voted for that. Peace is best preserved through a strong national defense, part of their creed. Do you know we've got more soldiers on the border between North and South Korea than we do on our own southern border? How does that make sense? If the primary focus of the federal government is the protection of these United States, why are we spending billions of dollars and sending our troops overseas to protect other countries, and we won't even hire more agents to patrol our southern border? Do you think maybe if we weren't spending money on 130, we've got troops in 130 countries, 900 bases around the world, maybe if we brought some of them home, we could save enough money to hire a few more border agents? Just a thought, you know, something we might want to consider. When it comes to saving money, we hear people talk about getting our fiscal house in order often. How would we do that? We need to stop spending. Where would we cut, Floyd? What would we stop spending money on? Well, I've got 11 pages here of bureaus, agencies, departments, and bureaucracies in the federal government that are unconstitutional, and we could get rid of them. How about the Personal Income Tax Division of the IRS? I'd abolish that. Department of Education, I'd get rid of it. Department of Energy, FEMA, get rid of them. You're going to love this one. National Institutes of Health. Office of Minority Health. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. That's the kind of stuff our tax dollars are being spent on. And of course the redundancy in here is just unbelievable. But we're spending billions of dollars a year supporting these bureaucracies. Folks, it's got to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is if we stop burying our heads in the sand and pretending that the only problem is the Democrats. And once we get rid of the Democrats, problem solved. We've got to look for Republicans who respect and revere the Constitution and who will support their oath to uphold that document. Otherwise, we're just spinning our wheels, nothing's going to change, and the country's going to keep circling the toilet bowl. We have got to stop. And I'm asking you to help me to help you restore the Constitution. June 12th, we have a chance to make a difference. I want you to, if you decide you want to support me, and I certainly hope you will, I want you to talk to your friends, your neighbors, your family. Tell them, June 12th, you got to get out and vote. No excuses. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's hot. I don't care if you have to stand in line for 45 minutes. This is too important to make excuses. We talk about it every election cycle. We need to make some changes. We need to get good people in there. We need to get regular citizens back in Washington and restore some common sense. Well, now's your chance to do it. You got two great choices over here. I hope you agree that I'm a good choice. And if we get people like us up there working together, we can make some serious changes. Tammy's got a clipboard around here. I think we left it over here with a pen. I want you to sign up if you want to help the campaign. Give me your name and any contact information, whether you like email or physical street address or a phone number. If you're willing to donate, I make no bones about it. I need your help there too. You know who I'm up against. I mean, the man, all of his faults, knows how to raise money. So I'm up against the big money machine. I need your help there so I can get my message out. So anything you can do to help